horizontal abduction.
Medial and lateral rotation.
Can you slide over that way a little? Thanks. 90 degrees of shoulder abduction. Now what I'm going to do, external rotation. Okay. Back to neutral. Internal rotation. So again, what do we do with passive range of motion? We stop when we encounter first resistance, also known as primary restraint, also known as end feel. So this feels like a tissue stretch, but how much range of motion should we get with this movement?
180?
No, that would be, whoa.
90?
Whoa, only if you're a
60.
breakdancer from
60,
Style Wars.
70.
No, this is, so it could be anywhere like 70 to 90. You know, this, like, I don't think this is pathologically limited, but I felt the restraint at about here, okay? So when you feel that restraint, let's say I felt it here and it felt like a tissue stretch. What type of end feel would that be?
It just says tissue stretch, no?
But what is a tissue stretch end feel if it's in the wrong position? Yeah, but what is it called? Capsular end feel. So if it feels like the quality of a tissue stretch, but it's taking place where it shouldn't be, that's a capsular end feel. Okay? Next.
Protraction, retraction.
Can you turn on your side facing that way? And then just slide back towards me a little.
You go right into elevation depression from there.
Yeah, so in this sideline position, this is where we could do passive range of motion for elevation, depression, protraction, and retraction. What I like to do is sometimes just have them stabilize their position. So you can ask them to flex the top hip, just put that down on the table. And here, I'm controlling the forearm. The elbow is on my forearm. So in this position, it's very easy for me to use my body and elevate, depress, retract, or protract. Okay?
Elbow, forearm, wrist, and hand, flexion and extension of elbow.
Okay. Sorry, just stand real quick. So for the elbow passive flexion, you can just do this. You know, relax your arm. And I passively move until I feel, you know, soft tissue approximation. When it comes to extension, you'll have a desk set up with chairs on either side, so you can passively extend. You could also passively extend in this position. So here, I passively flex, and then as I passively extend, I feel bone to bone. Okay? So give a little support so that they can let go of the muscles in their arm, and then you can extend. All right?
Pronation, supination.
Pronation and supination. So again, can you sit? You can do this with the arm on the table. You can do it across the desks. So here, both my hands are going to be on the forearm, and I passively supinate. Here, passively pronate. Okay? Wrist?
Yes. Flexion, extension.
So flexion and extension. If I'm sitting on, here's our imaginary desk, I can passively flex, right? I can pronate, passively extend. When we're extending or flexing the wrist or ulnar or radially deviating, hold, so thumbs on the palm, hold on the dorsum, use your body to do the movement. Radial deviation, ulnar deviation, extension, or flexion.
You doing the digits?
No.
No digits.
You would, again, on your final exam, I don't want to see this. Which one is it? This one? That one? You know, it's just, yeah.
Up goes the weasel.
Never again. That's all I'm going to say. I will never hear somebody scream during a test ever again.
MLT, lumbar and thoracic spine.
Going on 8 years now. MLTs?
Yep.
Okay, can you lay on your back? All right. So, latissimus dorsi or teres major, palm up. palm is up. Go 180 degrees into abduction, right? Any pain? Evaluate if the arm can stay on the table, if it moves, right? And then seeing if we can reach the normal resting length. Okay. Next.
Cervical spine, anterior, middle, and posterior scaling.
Okay, so I'm just going to stick with the right side. So for the right side, if we're doing scalenes, always start with the middle scalenes. Just for the demonstration, we're only going to do the right side. So here, I'm under the occiput, don't cover the ears. Right side, middle scalene, all we need to do is laterally flex to the opposite side. Here, now I replace that hand with this hand, and if I want to accentuate the stretch, I can lean into it. My feet should be planted on the floor, shoulders should be relaxed. You could think about a yoga practice. Think about stretching. So here I'm lengthening my spine, leaning in like this. Stretch okay? Mm-hmm. All right. So think about it this way. All of these positions, you should be able to hold the stretch with very little force, pressure. You shouldn't be like holding and shaking. You should be able to relax and maintain these stretches. Okay? So that's middle. Middle, all we do is go opposite. Posterior, we go opposite. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to laterally flex to the opposite side and I'm going to rotate to the opposite side. Don't do too much of one or you'll limit the other. So here I'm combining and moving rotation and lateral flexion. And I'm just going to move this down. Is that okay? And so you can see the emphasis on that posterior aspect. Okay?
Vein.
Yes, Eric, there are veins in the human body.
No, it was like
seen it like it was like stretching and pulsing out like a horror movie.
Yeah, like the crazy. It looked crazy.
It looked like a normal vein. So anyway, then we're going to do the final anterior scalene. So now we're going to rotate to the same side, laterally flex to the opposite side. So here I can stand and just undercutting my hand creates enough rotation. I can replace here, right? You can use a soft fist, stretch. Okay? Here, levator.
Yep.
So levator scapula, think about this. Combining a posterior scalene stretch with a couple of other extra ingredients, right? Posterior scalene, depressing the scapula, flexing the cervical spine. So posterior goes opposite. What I want to do is I want to reach under and get the head on my wrist, hand, forearm, right? So I'm going to come under here. I'm taking a step back. So look at what it did. It rotated. I'm under the occiput. The head is resting on my forearm. Here, I need to lean forward, depress the scapula. Now I have him take a deep breath. Breathe out. And now I raise. There's the stretch. Okay?
Yeah, and it should feel and look correct because you have a line to the levator. It should be quite obvious that you have the stretch correct.
Yeah, you'll see the muscle.
That
Like
depends on a person's body, though.
that's true. Some people you won't see them. Finding an anterior scalene stretch, but with a couple extra ingredients. The extra ingredients will be we're just going to stabilize the lateral third of the clavicle and the acromion, and then we're going to have them flex as well. So here, I'm going to come underneath, but look, I come all the way through so that when I come back, it already moves the head into this position. He's again on my wrist, hand, and forearm. Now I just stabilize here. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. So I stand.
Upper trapezius.
Upper traps. Yep. Next.
Shoulder, subscapularis.
Okay, subscap.